How's it going, people? Welcome back to Football's 12th Man podcast. As ever, I'm your host, Dan Potts, and I'm with none other than the greatest guy when it comes to talking about football is Super Kevin Campbell. KC, how are you, sir?
Appa, how are you, everyone? I hope you're well. Take care, and I hope you enjoy this podcast because it's going to be fire, I'm sure. At ease, everybody. And we got
Mate,
sunshine, Dan, which is why
I can see
I've
the
got the
sunnies are on,
goggles on.
mate.
Yeah, yep,
It's
yep.
not often we get sunshine in Great Britain, but when we do, we've got to make the most of it, man. It has been lovely, to be honest. So, got to make the most of it, guys. And something we do have to make the most of is this transfer window, Casey. It's going to be a busy one for a lot of clubs, from what we're hearing. But at the moment, we don't see many yellow bars coming up saying signings completed. There's a lot of signings rumoured to happen, and there's a massive difference. So before we go into it and start looking at clubs themselves and what they think they need and what we think they need, and particularly Arsenal, I wanted to ask you about this transfer window in general and how busy you think it is going to be come the 5th of August when the season starts, mate.
Yeah, look, I think there's quite a few clubs actually, Dan, who need to get a move on. Arsenal being one of them, Manchester United another. You see Spurs have made some moves. There's a few clubs there who you could say to yourself didn't quite go. Chelsea are another one, didn't quite finish up how you would have wanted it to, and you really need to push on. And the longer you leave it, the more difficult it is to integrate those players in pre-season, etc. So, I think it's going to be a really good window, though, and there's going to be plenty of intrigue. There's going to be plenty of frustration, Dan, as always for us Gooners, especially. But I think Arsenal, the key is getting things over the line. That's the most important thing.
Mate, we know that Arsenal never do things quickly. It made me laugh the other day. They said Arsenal are accelerating the Gabriel Jesus signing. And I thought, crikey, I don't want to see them not accelerating it then. If this is them accelerating it, what is going to happen when we slowly move to sign someone? So it's going to be an interesting one, so to speak. Might as well start with Arsenal, Casey. Both Gooners, both interested to see what's happened. I want to ask you two things. First of all, I want to ask you how excited you are about this transfer window with all the rumours we're hearing. And I want to ask you, do you think that come the close of this window, Arsenal fans will be excited going into the new season? Because, of course, there's rumours about not just one or two signings, but a war chest, as we hear every season, mate, from Stan Kroenke. So how excited do you think we should be as Arsenal fans, mate?
Well, at the moment, I think there's a little bit of frustration flying about because the rumour mill is good. And to see the calibre of player that Arsenal are linked with is very good, Dan. Of course it is. Some really good players. But you know as well as I do, the key is getting them over the line. You want to see them holding that shirt up and you want to see them signed, as you said, the yellow ticker, signed by Arsenal. And them talking glowingly about the club and about the regime, etc. So, obviously, we know Jesus is going to be is a big part. I think it will get done. Obviously, he's been away on international duty, and his wife's just had a little one, etc. So, there's moving and shaking. Personal terms have been agreed between the player and club anyway for a while, but always the sticking point sometimes, Dan, is the clubs. Arsenal to the selling club. That's proving sometimes to be the longer game because Man City, they want 50. He's only got a year left. And, they're going to stick to their guns because they know what type of player he is. Tielemans as well. Martinez, Ajax as well. So, it's a juggling act. It's good to see, it's good to see Arsenal make some moves. But the key moves that we need Arsenal to make, let's be honest, are the players really who are going to step straight into this team. And they're the ones we've got to get over the line.
Yeah, I think you're right. And there's rumours of a lot of players at Arsenal. The only good thing I can see, Casey, from a positive point of view, is a couple of things. Firstly, we're linked with players that definitely we need position-wise to improve on. So we're not linked with, another centre-back, for example, or another Kieran Tierney or another. So we're linked with players that we think do you know what? I can see them slotting into this squad. So that's what's needed.
We get
I think
serious
the
with
other
that.
positive is you see me now.
We
The
get
other
serious
positive
with that.
is the other serious good thing is if we're willing to spend the money that apparently is touted for the players that I would not necessarily say are a priority player, that must be good news for Arsenal. Because if we're willing to pay, say, 40 million for Fabio Vieira, 40 million for a Martinez, 60 million for a Rafinha, what are we willing to pay for our striker and our number 8 that we all so desperately need? That must be a good thing for Arsenal. So I think the money that we're touted to be spending probably is going to amount to over 150 million again from what we saw last summer. So that must be good news for Arsenal. But I'm going to bring this one in because I think this is a good one from Jaden, because these are the players we're rumoured to be linked with. The potential signings of Vieira, Gabriel Jesus, Tielemans, Rafinha and Lisandro Martinez. What do you expect from the squad next season should that happen, Casey?
Well, minimum top four and a cup. It's listen,
I'm with you.
and let me just say this as well, Dan. You know, people have said to me, I'm Arteta's lawyer and all that kind of thing, and I love it, like, you know. But the free paper ran out at the end of last season because whether we made Champions League or not, we didn't make it, but we were that close with a paper thin squad. You start bringing in these names, all of a sudden, the pressure gets ramped up, and you've got to do it. So that's what I expect, Dan. I expect top four, and I expect a cup. That's what I expect.
I'm with you, and I was going to ask you about objectives, and I think we're both on the same wavelength there. We need to win something and secure Champions League football for it to be a good season. I don't really believe there can be any more excuses about him not having the squad that he wants, and I don't believe that the lack of transfer windows needs more transfer windows, needs more players. I'm with you. I think now we need to do the business now. You've got your team. You will have your team by the end of this window, let's hope, if you've got anything about you. And it comes down to Edu as well. I think if they can look at this squad as a squad of 20 to 25 players that we believe is an upgrade on the last 2 seasons, I don't think there's any reasons as to why we can't get top four. When I look at what other teams are doing, it's going to be interesting to see what Chelsea and Manchester United do, which we'll touch on in a minute. And of course, Tottenham. I think Liverpool and City are too far ahead still, in my opinion, for a lot of teams. But actually, that top four could be up for grabs for a few clubs. So I want to touch on Arsenal quickly before we move on to the others. Let's talk about that striker position. If Jesus comes in, is that a good signing for you, KC?
Yep, I think it's an excellent signing. I think he hasn't really had a fair run at City, and sometimes as well, Danny, because he plays pretty well wide. He does a job coming on, so Pep's been able to use him as he pleases. But I think he's getting to that age now. He starts for Brazil at number 9.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he can't really get a full game, regular game at City. So I think the time has come for him to be the main man.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
he's the best pressing striker. Listen, the manager wants to press. So if you're going to play press, you might as well get the best pressing striker who knows the Premier League, who can score goals in the Premier League, who's an international player. So listen, getting him for 50 million, I think, is a steal myself. And let's get him in. I want to see him holding that number 9 shirt up. Dan, big
Yeah,
time.
no, too right, man. I agree with you. I like some of his attributes. His work rate is great. And I love listening to other opposing fans. And I had Big Steve on here from Man City the other night saying, we don't really don't want to lose this guy. He's a fan favourite. We love his work rate. He'll give his all for the club. And he says he thinks he'll be a great number 9 at Arsenal, not a wide man. He'll be a great number 9. So I believe that's where Arteta is seeing him. I don't think he's going to come in and play on the left wing. But of course he has that ability to if we would have wanted to change things up. So I think that's great what you said there. Let's talk about Nketiah. He's got a little bit of stick apparently online, wearing the number 14, 100k a week, and some of the fans aren't happy. I can't lie to you, KC, I'm not a huge lover of this. I don't think it's exciting for me. But some would say that the last few games of the season he came in, did well, and deserved the contract. I want to get your thoughts on that, and also whether you think Jesus and Nketiah is enough going into the new season.
Look, I've said it before, Dan. I don't think Nketiah was the answer to be a starter because he's not a starter for me. That's why Jesus will be the main guy. Can Eddie do a job? Eddie's proved he can do a job, but he's not going to be the main guy for Arsenal. I still think we need another striker of size where we could mix it up. I think that's going to be really important. And Eddie maybe is the third string for me. And people might say, but he's got the number 14 shirt. Yeah, look, I understand the number 14 and numbers are personal to fans. I get that. But the football club, if you notice what they've done with Saka, what they've done with Smith Rowe last year. Do you remember Smith Rowe got the 10 and fans were moaning about, that's Dennis Bergkamp's shirt. You know what I mean? So for whatever reason, the club are trying to move on from that to try and create something new, connect Hayland. I get that. I do. I get it. But I never hear anybody moaning about the number 8 shirt. I never hear anybody moaning about number 6. I never hear anybody moaning about number 4 for Vieira. So, sometimes you have to take it with a handful of salt, not a pinch, Dan. Handful of salt, because it is what it is. But Eddie's not the starter, that's for sure. The manager works with Eddie, and the manager, let's be honest, Dan, he hasn't changed his stance on Eddie all the time. He's kept at it. And look, wouldn't it just be our luck? Eddie comes up with a goal that gets us somewhere. It will be worth the money, Dan, if he could do that. So listen, I'm not gonna throw shade on Eddie. I've been in the dressing room. I know what it's like. Look, fans may be against you because they think that the club could get better. But the fact of the matter is, Dan, if they were going to replace Eddie Nketiah, you would have to pay a transfer fee and then the wages. So we're getting Eddie on the cheap.
Fair play, man. Do you think another striker will come in, or do you think it's going to be Eddie and Jesus?
I hope so. I hope another striker comes in. I do. I think we need somebody of size, Dan, because you know what? Sometimes when teams bank up and we can't play through them, we've got to be able to throw a cross in and get somebody on the end of it. So obviously Eddie's small. Jesus ain't massive, although he does pretty well in the air. I still think we need somebody of size to cause a major problem in the air.
Yeah, I really like the sounds of players like Tammy Abraham, like Skamaka, like Nkunku, Oshimen. I just don't know how much money there is available, because all those players are going to cost us quite a lot of money,
Big money,
as well as Jesus. Big money. So I think we need one. I don't think we can go into this season with Jesus and Nketiah alone. I think the minute Jesus picks up a knock, Eddie's back up top. And for me, that isn't... We saw last season that he can come in and do a job, but I don't think he can take us to that next level. So I'd like to see another striker come in. There's been... I don't know how true this is, by the way, but someone has said... Pavada said that Vieira has officially been announced, Dan and KC. I don't know if someone can check that for us. What's your thoughts on this? Because I ain't going to lie to you, KC. I didn't know many people that knew much about him. Apparently highly rated over in Portugal, 22 years old, good left foot, good vision, nice on the ball, technically gifted, but isn't a starter, but has, of course, done well in the under-21s for Portugal. So is this one excite you, or is this just one for the future for you, mate?
No, I think this kid excites me, Dan, if I'm honest with you. I think he weren't really getting the game at Porto because of Luis Diaz. As soon as Luis Diaz left, he came in and obviously his stats went through the roof. So he's ready. I think what Mikel Arteta has realised, Dan, which is really important, Arsenal need to score a lot more goals and need to create a lot more.
Agreed.
Can't just go through games, creating a couple of chances and getting over the line. No. Because if you want to challenge them boys at the top, because that's really the end goal, they're scoring 90 to 100 goals. So you need creators, and hence why Vieira, hence Tielemans, Jesus, we need somebody up there to take it, and maybe another striker as well to help. We need as many weapons to be able to create chances as we can. So, yeah, I think it's important. Mikel Arteta realizes we've got to really up our goal scoring rate.
Yeah, big time. And I think that when he comes into this one, Casey, it'll be interesting to see what sort of formation and position he's going to play because there's rumours that Partey will hold an Erdegaard and, of course, Fabio Vieira will be that kind of Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne type play. And they'll kind of go two attacking eights. There's an opportunity for him to go wide, I believe. There's an opportunity for Erdegaard to go in the 10 if we do play a 4-2-3-1 again. So I think it's a good signing all round because he's a player that I think will provide competition. And if he's good enough, mate, he'll get the nod and come into the side. So for me, it's one that sometimes people go, who? Who? How many players have Arsenal said who and they've been brilliant? Like, I'm not going to lie, even Tommy Yasu, I went who when we signed him?
Well,
I
of
had no idea
course.
about Tommy
Yeah,
Yasu.
of course.
You know, he's come in and done a great job. So, and think back over the years, even you as a player must have thought, who the hell is George signing here? Never heard of this kid. And he comes on to be top quality. So I'm kind of reluctant to say he's not going to be good enough without even seeing the Arsenal shirt on me. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair, Dan, because last season told us quite a bit, didn't it? You know, we started the season, lost the first 3 games. Then we brought in the Ramsdale. Remember, Ramsdale got shouted out of town before he even came to the club. You know, Tommy Arsu and all these guys came in, gave them a little chance, and look what they done. They, nearly took us to the Champions League, which we fluffed our lines in the end. But the type of caliber of player that we're being linked with now, who we need to get over the line, that's got to be the difference maker, Dan. It's got to be the difference maker for Arsenal. There's no more excuses after this. We've got to bring in that quality and the number of bodies as well. I think that's really important. Get them in the football club and get pre-season going with these lads in so they can do their song. They could integrate with the team, get out to America and play games, and then we're ready for the season.
Yeah, 100%. The other one that's been linked, as Lynn has said, big up Lynn, welcome. Do you think that if we get Rafinha, that he'll be the other option up front? What do you make of this? This for me excites me, Casey. I like this lad.
Yeah, not as a 9, obviously, but I think for the last 2 seasons, I mean, we've played Saka. We've had to play Saka. He's been our best player, most consistent player for 2 seasons, and he's still a baby. What we do need to do, Dan, we need to rest him at times. We need to be able to switch him out, interchangeable pieces, etc., etc., etc. So I think Rafinha will be an absolute star at Arsenal. I think that's what Mikel Arteta wanted with Pepe. People saying Pepe didn't get a chance and all that, but when you do get your chance, you got to take it. And what is it? This is the 3rd season finished now. I think Pepe's days are numbered at Arsenal. If they're looking to get Rafinha in, I think that's a real upgrade. Works hard, creates, beats his fullback, and he causes major havoc. So, and he's a Brazilian international as well. So I think, listen, that's another one. Got to get it over the line, Dan, but that's a really exciting player.
Yeah, and the news is that although personal terms were agreed with Barcelona, they're pulling out due to money, and it looks like Arsenal are favourites now to land this guy. I think he'd be an exceptional talent. I really liked him at Leeds. He was by far their best player, and I think he'll be a huge upgrade on what we've already got. Let's talk a little bit about our midfield, because it's quite congested in there, Casey, but no one's standing out apart from maybe Thomas Partey saying, look at me, I'm class. We've got Xhaka, we've got El Neni, we've got Lokonga. There's obviously rumours of Torreira and Maitland-Niles coming back, wondering what's going to happen with their futures. There's rumours that Tielemans may well come into the club, but of course they're saying now that that's cooled. And those that did watch yesterday will know Ash, our Leicester fan, come on and said he'd be a fantastic player for Arsenal and one that would take you forward and be a huge upgrade on Granit Xhaka. So what do you think we need in there? We've got Erdegaard and Partey, but after that, I think personally there's a position there needed, and Tielemans, I think, would fit that bill. So what do you make of the midfield?
Yeah, I think he fits it ideal. Look, I understand, we were talking about Yves Bissouma. We wanted Bissouma in there. We know defensively, if Thomas Partey's injured, he could sit in there. But again, I think Mikel Arteta's thinking about offense. He's thinking about not only can he do a job defensively, but Tielemans brings so much more going forward than Granit Xhaka. 1, he can score goals. 2, he can pick a killer pass. And 3, he can unlock a door from outside the box or in and around the box just with a bit of clever thinking and a clever pass. I think that's something we've really lacked from our midfield. Dan, we look a little bit stale sometimes when it keeps going across. We need somebody who can get on the ball and do a little bit of magic. And I think that's what we miss. So I think Tielemans is ideal. I don't think it's going to be done quick, solely because Leicester's timeline is different to us. They're going to want maximum money. He's got a year left. It's not really going to happen, but I think they're gonna see it to the back end of the transfer window, Dan, if I'm honest.
I really hope we get him. I really like Tielemans. And I, like you, wanted Basuma because Partey's injury record has been so poor. But of course, he's gone to Tottenham, and the least we speak about that, the better. Let's bring up Neil's question because I think it's a good, relevant one here. What's the best position for Sambi Lokonga? He says he personally feels that he is not tough enough to be a number 6. But if Sambi, who played in the last game at number 8, looked a lot better there than he did at number 6, as we need competition for Thomas Partey. What's your thoughts on Lokonga, and do you think he's got a future here and we'll keep him in the summer, mate?
Yeah, I think he's definitely got a future. I think we've seen certain games where he's looked better than others, Dan, that's for sure. He got a little bit exposed against Liverpool at times where, that the way they press, it was a bit too much for him at times. But we've seen him have really good games. So I think him playing a little bit further forward helps him, gives him a little bit more time. And I think that the key to Sambi doing well is the other midfielder. Not just Thomas Partey, who's going to be playing the pivot. I think the other midfielder. Because when you play as a trio, the other midfielder sometimes is the guy who releases you because opposition, Dan, they're looking at Granit Xhaka. He's not going to hurt us. He's not going to carry the ball 20 yards and pick a killer pass. He's a continuity player. But if it's a Tielemans in there, Tielemans can carry the ball. Tielemans could pick a pass. So you have to account for him. So it collapses the opposition a little bit more to the opposite side. So he gets a little bit more time and space on the ball. You can't account for everybody, Dan. That's the name of the game. That's what happens with Manchester City. You can't account for all of them. So this is kind of the way we're thinking of going.
Fair play. Listen, we spoke Jesus, we spoke Fabio Vieira, Rafinha linked as well. Tielemans, the other player that's heavily linked to Arsenal is Lisandro Martinez, a left centre-back who they call a butcher, a hard man, someone who can pass and spray a pass, and I've seen his passing, it looks exceptional to be fair. Player of the season, highly rated at Ajax, can play left-back and of course defensive midfield from what I'm hearing. This sounds a bit of an alright deal, Kev, from what I'm hearing.
Go and get him. Go and get him, Dan. Listen, somebody who's got a little bit of nastiness in them.
Yeah.
Could play centre half, could play left back, could play wing back, could play holding midfield. Argentinian's got that toughness about him. Hey, when's the last time we signed a player who's got that toughness about him? I think he'll be a fan favourite if we can get him. But that's the whole point. If we're going to be going for these guys, get them signed. Get these guys in. And this guy can play as well in probably 4 or 5 positions, Dan. He's that good and he's technically very good as well. So, very rarely you see a tough player like that who's technically good. If the opportunity comes up, we've got to sign him.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. And I'm also with this comment. I love it. We need a butcher.
Yes.
We do.
We call him Frank. Call him Frank.
That can be his nickname already.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rumours that Man United are in for him, and that's the club I want to talk about next. Christian Erickson and Lisandro Martinez and De Jong. Let me be honest with you in general, Casey, and ask you this. Erik ten Hag coming in. Manchester United, let's have it right, over the last couple of years, they ain't got it right. They've been going for these world-class individuals but haven't been thinking about the team. They haven't taken a step back, in my opinion, and looked at where they're going. They've just looked at what they can do right now. And sometimes I've been guilty of saying I've wanted that at Arsenal. But I think the reason that they've gone about it wrong is because they haven't got the manager to come in and do it now. They tried to get the players, and I think they could have looked at it the other way around and got maybe an Antonio Conte like at Tottenham or Diego Simeone to come in and win now. I think they've gone down the player route of trying to win now, like Ronaldo, Varane, Sancho, Bruno Fernandes, and it ain't quite worked out right. Do you have the faith and confidence in this Manchester United hierarchy that Ten Hag can take Manchester United forward with a little bit of a difference of philosophy going into this next season?
Well, Dan, look, the proof's in the pudding sometimes. And we could talk about, he's done a great job at Ajax with youngsters and all that. Trust me, going from Ajax to Manchester United is a different world completely. What he's got to try and do, he's got to try and get the dressing room on board. And we saw what happened with the last manager, who was the interim manager. Where it was a disaster.
It was.
There's certain players you've got to win over. There's a hierarchy to the dressing room. Ten Hag's got to come in and he's got to galvanise everybody. Not only has he got to galvanise the team, Dan, he's got to galvanise the fans. Because the fans have been distraught. They're unhappy. They're dejected, in a sense. And, having a team is so important. And you know what? Sometimes we look at Arsenal and we think, we're not this, we're not that, we're not the other. But I tell you one thing that's happened at our club. We have definitely become a team that's connected to the fan base. And I tell you that this is something that is going to really help us moving forward now if we can get the right players in. Manchester United, they do have great individuals, but that team ethic hasn't been there. And it's going to be an interesting one to see if Ten Hag could put that ethic in. We know listen, like I said about Arsenal, they're another team who really need to get them a move on, because they haven't got time to be messing about. I don't believe, in not signing players. They've got to get them in now.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Manchester United are so far behind at the moment that they do need to start looking at getting a move on. Because I look at Ten Hag and think he's got a great style of play, but the playing staff ain't good enough at Manchester United. I know people said that the likes of Sancho, Ronaldo, Pogba, Bruno, oh my God, they're scary. But they ain't proved to be able to play like a team. So if he can get them playing together, of course they can be a force. And they've got some great players on their books, Man United. I'm not slating them, saying they're no good, because trust me, they are. They came second the season before last. So they've definitely got the reputation as a big club, and now they've got the manager. So that's going to be an interesting one for me. Let's move to Chelsea and Tottenham, KC, because let's start with Chelsea. The Roman Abramovich thing is going to have affected them, and I think towards the end of last season it did. Do you think Chelsea are going to find themselves back with the rest of the gang, so to speak? And is it going to be quite funny? Because I know both me and you are smiling. But what do you see with Chelsea's recruitment? Is it going to be affected, do you think?
Look, I think Chelsea, I don't think it's going to be affected that bad, because they've still got a world-class squad. Obviously, the Lukaku, he's going to make a move. They're talking about signing Sterling. Sterling, I think, will be an upgrade.
Great signing.
Be a really good signing. Someone who could score 15, 20 goals a season. He's proven that he can do that. Who's going to play number 9? Is it going to be Havertz, or whoever as a striker? Not too sure. There's going to be some moving and shaking going on. There's talk of Richarlison coming in from Everton. They're talking about who can play up there on his own. He can play any of the wide positions as well. He'll be another good addition. So I'm not too sure. Obviously, they won't be as blatant as they are with Abramovich, where they just spray the cash and get who they want. I don't think they'll be like that. I think it'll be more methodical. Thomas Tuchel, is probably coming back into the pack like everybody else. Have to really understand and make sure he gets the right signing in. You can't just go willy-nilly. But I still think Chelsea squad is still quality, still class. Listen, they've lost a couple of players to run their contract down, etc. So it's going to be an interesting one. I still think Chelsea have to make moves now as well, Dan. Because if you don't make the necessary moves now and everybody else starts moving, you know what happens when you get to the latter end of the transfer window. The price goes through the roof. Not saying that Chelsea can't afford it, but the price goes through the roof, because if you want our player, you're going to have to pay way over the odds, because we can't go out and sign anybody. So again, that's another club who need to do their business now.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think Chelsea, Arsenal and United need to look at who's doing the best business for me now. And having said that, They can't look and worry about what Arsenal are doing and what United are doing. Chelsea have just got to go and get the business done. There's rumours of Dembele, there's rumours of Koundé at the back, there's rumours of Richarlison, there's rumours of Sterling. All would be fantastic signings. But actually, when I look at Chelsea, I think there's some holes in that squad right now. I think with the defenders leaving, Christensen going, with Rudiger going to Real Madrid, Azpilicueta looks like he's off. They've got Reece James, who I think is top quality, and they've got a great goalkeeper. Chilwell's a good left back when he's fit, but hasn't been for most of last season. Their midfield is decent with Kovacic, but when you look at that front line, I can see why they're linked with the likes of Dembele, Sterling, Richarlison, because none of those have really hit it off. Pulisic looks like a good player, but last season was inconsistent. Ziyech can't keep fit, and when he is playing, can't really bang him in. Timo Werner, if he could finish, he'd be one of the best in the league, the positions he gets into.
He'd be one of the best in the world.
It'd be unbelievable.
It'd be incredible.
Unbelievable. Like, he's got to sort his finishing out, because he could be a great buyer for Chelsea if you put him away. He keeps fluffing his lines. And of course, there's all the drama with Lukaku, and Havertz might have to take that position up. But I'm looking at Chelsea thinking they might need to do a little bit more than what people are suggesting, because they've got the elite manager, but I don't think they're just going to walk into this top four battle now. I think that they've got to do some serious business. So I'm with you, mate, 100%. Let's talk about... I hate doing this, man. Let's talk about Spurs.
Hold on.
You know my thoughts, bruv. You know my thoughts on Conte. You know my thoughts on these.
I'm gonna have to put
this
the goggles
team.
back on now.
Honestly, mate, it's horrible to talk about. But do you share my concerns about Tottenham's progress? Let's not get excited and say they're going to win stuff, because it is Spurs. But do you understand why some are getting worried about where Tottenham are moving under Antonio Conte?
Yeah, 100%. Look, the fact of the matter is, they pipped us to that.
He's got the shades on. I love it.
Yeah, I had to put the shades on when I'm speaking about that lot. Look, I really look. They pipped us to fourth spot. We fluffed our lines. They took it. And really, the real difference, although we were up and down at times, and they were up and down, what done it for them was Kane and Son. That's the bottom line, Dan. Now, they are making moves. They've signed Basuma, etc., etc. Totally get it. But you know what? We've seen a strong Spurs squad before, and they never done nothing. I think the key for us is we've got to get the goals at the top end of the pitch for us. That's what we've got to do. They've got the goals in their team. It's the other places in their team that they really needed to strengthen, which, as you're seeing it, they made some early moves, didn't they? They made some moves really early, didn't mess around. And it obviously puts Arsenal under pressure because, they pipped us to the Champions League. But I still think it's all there to play for this season, for sure. And get us goals at the top end and creativity at the top end of the pitch. I think we could challenge for that top four even more so this coming season. That's for sure.
I think you're right. If we get the goals, 100%. Nick saying that they had a manager who got Kane and Son firing. Yeah, I think all three of those are the reasons as to why they got that Champions League spot. But Lynn brings up a comment here in relation to the signings that they've made, and she believes they're not as good as the players that we are trying to sign. I mean, I must admit, I disagree to a certain point to what Lynn's saying, because I don't go wow, but I do go, okay, they're ready now. So Perisic, for example, is not going to be a 5-year player, is he? He's ready now. He's 33. He's come over from Serie A. He's a winner. He's got the mentality Conte wants. Players like Bissouma, I'm jealous of that, Kev. I can't lie. I know it's a player you liked. Yeah,
I am.
I know it's a player you liked. He's ready now. He's ready to slot in. He's Premier League proven. There's always a risk with these players. But apart from Jed Spence, who they're linked with, I think all of the players are coming in to be ready now under Conte. Romero, Kulusevski and Bentancur have all been better and upgrades on what they already had. And of course, they've still got Kane and Son. But they still need more, Tottenham. And that's what's good. They get an injury to one of those players and it won't actually get to a stage of, oh, wow, because their backup at the moment is pretty non-existent, Casey. So I'm kind of clinging on to that they get some problems in the injuries. Do you know what I'm saying?
And of course, listen, we're gooners. That's the way we have to think. We have to think worst case scenario for them and best case scenario for us. Listen, if we've seen them lose a Son, we've seen Harry Kane not be around, and they are not the same team, Dan. They are not the same team. That's why we have to make sure if Jesus ain't playing, there's another one, not Eddie, straight away.
Yeah, I
But there
agree.
has to be another one who can come in and do the job there. And Eddie's maybe third choice who can come off the bench after that. Because our squad needs to be a lot stronger than it was last season. Because you know as well as I do, we can call January window and all that kind of thing. Our squad weren't strong enough. Now we're going to find out how serious the Cronkies are.
Yeah,
This is
we
the
really
window.
are.
We're gonna find out now how serious they are. The fact of the matter is we missed out and we didn't make the Champions League is irrelevant now. We were that close. So invest the money now and let's have a go at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we welcome all opinions on here, and I love all the interaction in the chat. We have got a Spurs fan who always tunes in, and I'm a big fan. Interstellar, top man. It says, behave you two. I'll take third place for my Spurs. We're not going to be title challengers. The gap's too big, but a trophy would be nice. To be fair comment, but
Interstellar,
trophies
I love
is
it.
something that's quite hard to come by with Tottenham, isn't it, Kev?
Interstellar, look, I'm sure you would take third place. But it's a big season. It's a big season. Don't forget, Interstellar. You guys didn't have European football for a long stretch because what Antonio Conte really dumped you lot out of the what was it, the Conference League, wasn't it? So once you were playing week to week to week, just like we were. And you at the end of the day, your front two made a massive difference. Your manager made a difference, got you over the line. But now it's a different thing. That's why you're trying to bring the squad players in, etc. It's going to be who has the strongest squad and who could keep the better players fit. That's going to be the name of the game. And I think he won't be. If we have an injury at the back to a Ben White, there won't be a holding coming in. There'll be Saliba. Saliba will be there. That makes a huge difference as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Listen, I'm 100% with you, and I actually think Saliba can challenge. I really do. I like what Ben White. Yeah, I think so. I really do. I like what Ben White's done, but the jury's still out. He's a young kid, as is Saliba, and I think they're going to challenge for that number, that number, shirt number. I really do, and I think that's what we want in these positions, KC at Arsenal. We want to be seeing players.
Win.
100%, mate. That's what the other clubs do. I always use the examples back in 2004 when we were winning the title. I don't think Gail Clichy sat there and said, oh my God, when Ashley Cole went out, I don't think any of the fans were going, what are Cardinal and Wiltord going to do to get in this side? They were happy because if Henry did get a knock, Wiltord would come in. If Pires got a knock, Reyes would come in. If Edu got a knock, Gilberto would come in. If Parla got in,
pieces, Dan.
this is what we need, mate.
This is what we need, and that's why you need the quality squad. We need a quality squad, and this is where we got to invest. We got to invest the money now, not in January or the end of the next season. Now.
Yeah, 100%, mate. We do, and I think we will be busy, but let's just see how busy we will be. I want to talk quickly on Man City and Liverpool, Casey, because it looks like they're going to be ahead of the rest till next season, in my opinion. The signing of Haaland, I'd love to get your opinion on, and also Darwin Núñez at Liverpool. They've gone for it big, Liverpool and Man City, and it looks like they're probably just going to get better and better, mate. So what's your thoughts on these two sides?
Look, for me, I think Manchester City, let's deal with Manchester City first, the champions. They were missing that striker because they believed in Jesus. You saw Jesus come in and score 4 goals and he done well. But when it really mattered, they didn't play him, Dan. And that's what I don't understand. They didn't play him at times. And, look, they won the league, but Champions League is what they're after. They want Haaland to be that guy. They've missed an Aguero, haven't they? Somebody who could score 20 to 30 goals a season, blow teams away. I think that's why they went for Haaland, and they got him on the cheap. Let's be honest. They got him on the cheap. But you know what, Dan? You saw as soon as Man City done that, Liverpool had to respond. They had to respond. And Núñez coming in, look, I think this is advantage Manchester City. I'll tell you why. Nunes is a very good player and he will score goals at Liverpool. But you're losing Mane. Mane used to get Liverpool out of some sticky moments, I tell you.
Top player.
And a lot of people say Salah, Salah, Salah. And Salah, as for probably 3/4 of last season, was the best player in the world.
Easily.
But Mane goes about his business and does the business year in, year out. He scored over 100 goals for Liverpool, Dan.
Yeah.
Signed him for 30 million from Southampton. You know, that's the type of upgrade and the type of output that you need. That they've got to replace that, Dan. So if Nunes could do that, then they're going to need Salah to be the best player in the world again, Dan. That's the difference. Do you know what I mean? City haven't had a striker and they've been just passing teams off the pitch. Now they've got Haaland. This is an opportunity for them to blow teams away. I think Liverpool, it's not even like for like. It's maybe, okay, let's say Mane got 15. If Nunes could get 15, 20, then you still need Salah to be incredible again for them to do what they've done again last season. So I think it's advantage City.
Yeah, I do. And somebody else who thinks that is Craig. Big up, Craig. Regular listener. Man City scored 99 goals last season, and that was without Haaland. God help the rest of us. This guy's.
Hold on a minute. Jeez,
I'll tell you, mate. This guy is going to be something special, I think, KC Haaland. I really like this guy. And, you know, he seems that he's been looked after, you know, at Salzburg, Dortmund, now at Man City. I think his dad's probably a big part to play in that. But I must admit, I look at him and I just think you're going to be special. You know, like I do with Mbappe, I don't think we're going to see another Messi and Ronaldo, in my opinion. They're two of the greatest ever, probably the two best ever. But I look at them and think, they could be as close to that potentially. Their ceiling is ridiculously high. And Haaland and Mbappe, you've got to say that if either one of those players comes to the Premier League, it's great for the Premier League, Casey, isn't it?
100%. Well, you saw what happened with La Liga when Mbappe decided to stay at Paris. La Liga, they were throwing their toys out the pram. They were going crazy. Because why? Because getting Kylian Mbappe into La Liga shines the brightest spotlight on La Liga. Haaland's come to the Premier League at Man City, which is a bit of a wrench. But hey, listen, the brightest lights again shine on the Premier League for attracting this type of player, Dan. It's incredible. It's incredible. And I think we're in for another great season.
Yeah, I think we are, and watching him is something special. And I'm not a huge fan of Man City, but saying that, I'm not a huge hater of them either. But my God, I'll be enjoying watching this guy play football. He is exceptional. Two clubs I want to mention before we wrap up, mate, are two of the clubs that you hold close to your heart. First of all, Everton managed to stay up last season, even though they got a battering from us on the last day.
You're making me sweat here. That was too close, Dan. That was too close.
Mate, you obviously don't ever want to see that again. But I want to talk a little bit about your thoughts on Everton under Frank Lampard. And it looks like Tarkowski could be coming in, which I think could be a good signing. But Richarlison might be going out. So, of course, you're going to get rumours ins and rumours outs. You've got some top players at Everton, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison. So what do you see happening there, mate? Do you think Frank Lampard can get some players in and keep you safe from relegation next season?
Yes, 100%. I think Frank's done a good job. Many people question Frank Lampard, and they said, you know, was it the right move to bring Frank Lampard in? It's a relegation battle, etc., etc., etc. You know, there've been many more experienced managers who'd been at the helm. One being Rafa Benitez, who couldn't get the club in the right direction. But you know, something special happened with Frank Lampard, even in that difficult time, Dan. The fans connected with Frank and Frank connected with the fan base.
Fair.
So important, I'll tell you, for a club like Everton, it's so important. Now, he kept them up. You saw the scenes, and I think everyone's looking forward to this season. Frank Lampard he's got refurbishment to do. He's got to refurbish that squad because a lot of that squad were patched together, hardly played 2-3 games in a row. injury suffered. I think he's got to refresh that squad big time. And I think he will. He's going to go out. He's going to use, obviously, I'm sure he's going to use his Chelsea connections to get some young blood into that squad. And I think Everton are going to be all right. I think the Richarlison situation, I think Richarlison put Everton on his back last season. I really do. I think without him, Everton go down, if I'm honest with you. I think Richarlison was outstanding. So if ever there's one person who's going to leave, there's rumours, as you mentioned, about Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. I think Calvert-Lewin stays, Richarlison possibly goes, and they use that money to bring in some firepower at the top end of the pitch. Everton go all right next season. They don't struggle like they did this season.
Do you think Richarlison will go to a Premier League side? Because there's rumours about Tottenham and Chelsea. Do you see him going to one of those?
Here's the funny thing, Dan. I think if he goes Tottenham, he don't play, so he ain't going there.
Good point.
I think if he goes Chelsea, he plays.
Yeah.
I really do. I think if he goes to Chelsea, he plays. So I think if Chelsea are in and Chelsea make the right moves, because don't forget, Chelsea got some pieces in the background that I'm sure Frank Lampard wouldn't mind getting his hands on. So there might be a deal to be done. I think if he goes Chelsea, he plays. So I think Chelsea would have the upper hand.
Fair play. I think I agree with you as well. Before we come to the last part of the show, please do me a favour. Smash the like button. It would be amazing if you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And thank you all for coming back. It's been amazing. I've only literally done 5 or 6 videos and you're getting the same people coming back. It's amazing stuff. Over 100 of you watching live. Please, if you can, all smash the like button. That would be amazing. Right. Get your questions in, guys, as well, because we've got time for a little bit of questions for me in case anything you want to answer.
You're going to speak about Nottingham Forest.
I am.
My last club. Come on, don't leave it out, Dan.
I am, and the reason I'm going to do it is because I had Mr. Dore on here not long ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he came on here last week, but maybe a week before that, maybe. And he was talking about Forest. I love Mr. Dore. He was talking about how they're going to be winning the league and winning cups and all that. He loves to be optimistic. Bless him. But I wanted to ask you.
But you know what? In general, he's not optimistic at all.
I know. That's why I love him, because he comes out, he tries to give it all the
big one.
I'm confident, and he did it. Do you know it's funny, because when they bloody beat us, didn't they, last season, and he was all giving it before that. Oh, we're gonna be fine. It's absolutely no worries. Of course, blah blah blah. And then of course they did us 1-0, and I didn't speak to him for the rest of the season. But now he's a great guy. But in all seriousness, Nottingham Forest, mate. I've got to start with a manager, Casey. This guy, I mean. What a talent he is. They've taken him over at the bottom of the league. I think at one stage they were bottom as well as us. They were both of us were having a shocking start to the season.
After 7 games.
This guy's unbelievable, isn't he?
Well, Dan, Steve Cooper, as he's transformed not only the football club, Dan, he's transformed the city. I'm telling you. He has done such a great job. There. Apparently there's a new contract on the table for him, which I'm sure he's going to sign. And that's going to be the most important signing of this window. Obviously, coming into the Premier League with the big boys is going to be interesting how they spend money, what they do. But you know what? Going to Nottingham coming to the other grounds, Nottingham are going to represent themselves really well. Look, they're gonna have to bring some quality in. To add to their squad, because they had quite a few loan players last season. But I'm sure Steve Cooper knows what he's doing. And Dan, if they could just stay up this season, just stay up. By 1 point, just stay up. I'll be delighted, because that puts the club on such a strong footing for the next 5 years, honestly.
I really like this club, and the reason I really like this club is because I'm a little bit old school, Casey. I grew up when Nottingham Forest
History.
were in the Premier League, and of course they were huge, mate. And that's why I like seeing clubs like Aston Villa, Leeds, Nottingham Forest. I've always wanted Ipswich Town to get back up there because they're big clubs, and they are reputationally, their history says they're big clubs, and Nottingham Forest are no different. And I want to ask you this before we move off from Forest: if Forest do stay up, who do you see as the kind of club struggling around them? The reason I ask that is because you've got to put Fulham in Bournemouth, Fulham and Bournemouth, in there. Without no disrespect, they've only just come up as well. But I do look at some of the other clubs like the Leeds and maybe even the Brentford and God forbid Everton in and around that area. Do you think Forest can have enough fight
Boy,
under
Dan,
Steve
don't,
Cooper?
don't get me upset.
Don't get the shades back out, bro.
Don't get me upset, Dan. Don't even mention Everton in that, because Everton can't afford to be in that, right?
No, they can't, man. You're
But look,
absolutely right.
one thing I will say, Dan, obviously the three teams who come up, they're going to be against the pump. One usually does okay, and it's not the one who you usually think is going to be okay. You know, we saw Nottingham Forest do so well in the FA Cup last season against a lot of the big boys. You know, even the Liverpool game that they played, it turned on one decision, dodgy decision, and it went against them, and they had an opportunity to take the lead, etc. So, they've done well in one-off games. It's different when it's your bread and butter, Dan. It's different when it's your bread and butter. So, yeah, I think those three are going to be probably in the mix-up. You mentioned Leeds. I think now the Premier League teams are looking at picking Leeds' carcass, Rafinha, Calvin Phillips. I think people are looking at them. Can Bamford stay fit? You start weakening that team. It's a matter of who you're going to bring in. We've seen Southampton do well at times, and then next minute they've struggled.
Yeah,
I think they've had some good young players on loan. Can they? They haven't signed them. Can they then keep going and kick on? I think it's going to be another interesting year, Dan. And there's always one who you don't expect to be down there. And it better not be Everton again this year, who, seems to just keep falling down. And, I hope it's not. I hope it's not a Leicester, because it seems to me the family jewels of the Tielemans and all these guys are starting to, it's time for them to move on. So it's going to be an interesting window this year.
Yeah, I really do think it will be. And one team I think are very lucky that they have a quality manager, and I really rate this manager, by the way, are Brighton, because they're losing players. Bissouma's going, looks like Cucurella could be going, Lamptey's wanted, Trossard's wanted, Lewis Dunk apparently is wanted, so that could be a team that could be depleted. And I think they're lucky they got Graham Potter, because they've got to get their recruitment right, of course, but that's a team that could be in trouble if things don't go quite rosy for them. But I do have the faith in Graham Potter. I think he's done an amazing job. Yeah. Let's take some of your questions. First of all, this
take the goggles off now.
You take the goggles off now, mate. Yeah, Everton are safe, so it's all good. And Forest are safe. Craig says, question to Dan and KC. Who do you think will win the Golden Boot next season? Do you want to go first, KC?
Or should we say it together?
I'm going to go Haaland.
Haaland.
yeah.
I'm going Haaland. The way City create chances.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you, mate. I can't disagree. This next one's from Neil, and he's asked, are we getting two strikers, Eddie as the third choice, or will we have Eddie and another striker? I think we kind of mentioned that earlier. You think we do need somebody else as well, Kev?
Neil, I do think we need a striker of size. I think we need Jesus as the main striker, but I still think we need a striker of size. Somebody who we could, if teams are pressing us high, we could hit long, who could nod the ball down and we could play off the front line. So, yeah, I do think, will we get him? I don't know. But I think it's in the mind. But there's other key positions at the moment that we need to get in first. But striker before the window is key.
100%. Craig has asked, KC, who's the best player you have ever played with? Well, that's a hard question.
I could mention quite a few. I've been so lucky. Obviously, you could mention Gaza, can't you? You can mention Tony Adams. You can mention Righty. You can mention Rocky. can mention that is Limpar. Limpar was, let me tell you something. When he first came to Arsenal,
What a
he
player.
was unplayable. He was unplayable. He was fantastic. But probably because of the body of work, etc., I'm going to go with Gaza because some of the stuff that guy could do, and obviously he played for that lot down the road. He was unbelievable. In 1990, he was the best player in the world. At the World Cup, he was the best player in the world, for
Yeah, I
sure.
think that's fair play. And of course, absolutely hilarious as well. This one comes from Craze. He's asked, how many goals do you both think that Eddie will score in the league this season? KC.
I think if we Eddie gets the opportunities, I think Eddie needs to get Dan double figures. When you consider he came in at the back end of last season and he done okay. He done okay. He wasn't, ripping it up, but he done okay. But if we've got more weapons and we've got more assists and servers, we're expecting more goals. We've got to. So if he gets his games, um, I expect double figures. Maybe not double figures in the league, but double figures across the body. We're going to need him to score double figures, cups and
Yeah,
stuff like that as well.
I have to agree. I can't disagree with that at all. And some people might think that's harsh on Eddie to try and put that much pressure on him. But I think that, he's come in and proven that at the back end of last season he can score goals. So long may it continue. Just on the back of that question as well, KC, another loan for Balogun? Or does he take Eddie's old spot for the League Cup games? What would you do with Balogun, mate?
Balogun goes out on loan again for me to probably a higher level and see how he goes from there. Because he's still such a young man, and you've invested the money in Eddie to keep him around. And listen, again, just like anything, getting a spot in this Arsenal squad has to be earned, Dan. It has to be earned. Not just because you've signed a contract and you're young, you're going to just walk straight in. No, you're bringing in all this quality. If you get it in, you're going to have to earn that position. And that's what makes the club rise because everybody has to get better. So I think Balogun will go out on loan.
I think you're right. I'd like to see him out on loan, toughened up as well. Smith Rowe went to Huddersfield, toughened up, went to Leipzig, toughened up, and he's come back and been decent. Talking of Smith Rowe, Afsar, Dan, KC, is this the end for Smith Rowe? I just don't see where he'll fit in. What do you make of that, KC?
Afsar, that's the good part. You don't see where he'll fit in. Why? Because we got a squad now. If we get the players in, we got a squad. And you know what? When you get your chance, you better take it. Same at Liverpool, same at Man City. This is what the big clubs do. This is the way it was like with the Invincibles and all that. We've had it before. Quality players in every position and a quality bench. So if you need to change it, you can. That's the name of the game.
I have to 100% agree, man, and I don't understand some of the fan base that will say 1 minute, Smith Rowe is taking too many games, Saka needs a rest. Next minute, where they're going to fit in? We need a squad. We need a squad. We need a squad. We really do, and I'm totally with you. We've got two more left. We've got this one coming from Soap, who's asked about Ivan Toney. Says, Dan and KC, if Arsenal willing to spend on another striker, do you think that we should go for Ivan Toney as a target man, good height, hold-up play, and a target for crosses? What do you make of this as a potential signing, mate?
Yeah, listen, I think if you're going to go for Ivan Toney, you're going to have to move pretty early in the transfer window because you're going to have to allow Brentford the time to go and get somebody else in. Okay? I don't think Arsenal are interested in Ivan Toney, although I think he'll be a good target man, big man for us to get because he's very good with his back to goal and he links the play really well and he can attack crosses. That's for sure. But I just don't think Arsenal are interested in him at the moment anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'd agree, and I don't want to sound like a snob because I actually quite like Ivan Toney, but I do believe that we need somebody of an upgrade on him even to take us to that next level. I like the fact that he's got some attributes, and I like the fact that he's Premier League proven and had a good season, but I would rather go for some of the other options. But of course, they have to be realistic. Last question of the day, KC. Last question of the stream. And I think it's a good one. Quick question, Kev. Would you have rather played football for Arsenal at this current era or the era that you played in? The shades are
Tailwood,
coming back out.
Tailwood. Let me tell you, back then was much better. It was tougher. It was more aggressive. The fans and the team were together big time. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. I stood on the North Bank, scoring my first goal for the first team in front of the North Bank, Tailwood. Why would I want to play now at the Emirates? Nah. Give me Highbury any day, mate. Give me Highbury any day.
Love it, man. I can't lie. I do miss that place so much. And yeah, I think you're right in everything you've said. But I grew up, so I suppose me I'm biased because I grew up in that era that you played, and I absolutely loved every minute of it, man. Listen, thank you everybody in the chat, and thank you all for your questions. But most of all, thank you to yourself, KC, absolute legend. Thank you so much for coming on, man. Always love speaking to you on streams. Always love speaking to you on Arsenal streams, and of course on this one because we get to talk about Premier League. So I hope you've enjoyed it, man. And I'd love to see you back on here soon, mate.
Dan, anytime, just let me know. And if I could make it, I'll be there for you, pal. No problem. Everyone,
You're a good man.
look after yourselves and take good care.
We are getting out of here, guys. Take it easy. Big up yourselves.